everyone, and welcome to another segment of Mishti Talk. With us, we've got our special guest Brody today, and we've got Jinnie with me.
Hi everyone, we're here at the Cosmopolitan Cafe in Double Bay, and we have a really fun segment for you. I'm sure everyone's heard of rules of engagement, but we're going to be talking about rules of breakup today. And
so this is going to be very interesting because we're just going to wing it.
So we have our relationship expert over here, Brody. I think it's good to get a male perspective on this. I think when females get together, we have a bit of a biased perspective on things, so it'll be good to kind of pick your brain on this
Thank you. I'll
subject.
assist as much as I can.
Yeah.
I'll try anyway.
Yeah. And I think to be able to talk freely, we need a few drinks in our system, don't we?
We've got the wine coming, so hopefully we'll,
absolutely. Bit of
we'll
liquid
speak,
courage, I think, to help us along with this.
And guys, the disclaimer: if you think this video is about you, it is about you.
It is
All
about
of you.
Okay.
Well, not just guys. I'm sure, like in Brody's case,
everyone.
a few. So, Indira, let's start with your past experiences. So, how have you handled your past breakups?
Well, for me, I don't go and seek vengeance. For me, when I break up with that person, I'm done. Like, they're dead to me. So they don't even exist in my dictionary or in my life. So I do a complete cold cut. Do you do that?
Would you have a process, like, to kind of get to that point?
I don't warn them. So the process is, it's in my head. I'm like sort of looking at them and seeing their patterns and things like that, and then I'm like, no, cut.
Done.
No explanation, nothing.
Really? So no conversation. So you just completely ghost them cold turkey. Wow.
If they deserve it, yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay. And what about you, Brody?
I don't believe in vengeance because it doesn't really help anyone, to be honest. So, I mean, in her situation, that's not vengeance. That's just, look, I don't want any more headache.
That's right.
So there's just no need to keep that line open because I know I've made up my mind what that person is. There's just no need to go visit that again.
No.
So, that retaliation and stuff, I hate that. I don't like that. I don't think it's quite childish, actually.
Yeah.
So, if anything, take the memories, the good memories, the bad ones. Remember that's why you broke up, and move on. Like, you don't need to. There's no need to be retaliation or let me get them jealous or let me. None of that. Because if I am thinking that way, that means I'm still thinking of them.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So obviously, if I'm thinking of them so much to get them jealous, then really they're still in the back of my mind.
True.
So I'm not over them.
No, true.
So if anything, it's literally just move on. If you do have to talk to them, obviously, if you were married and you were divorced and there's kids, then just keep everything amicable. There's no need to actually fight. Fight is frustration.
That's it.
Frustration is usually from someone that wants them to behave in a certain way, but they're not behaving in a certain way.
Yeah.
So to be honest, I think just that amicable feel where, you know what, I need to talk to you because we've got kids, for instance.
Yeah.
So let's just keep this peaceful. I'm not rubbing you in your face. I'm not posting on Instagram that I'm with someone. I'm not, I don't need to do that.
Yeah.
And I feel that's the sort of the cleanest way of doing it.
Look, in an ideal world, I agree with you both. That's the way it should be. We should just live peacefully move on with our lives. But I don't think we live in an ideal world. So let's get real for a second. I think once we get to that stage of completely moving on, backing up a few steps before that, I think everyone goes through the phase where you have that, that raw hurt, anger towards that person for whatever it is. I think the stage of the relationship that you're at with that person matters too, how much history you've had with that person. Whether you were married or whether you were dating for a few months or, whatever the case, I think that matters. I think that plays a huge part in how you process the breakup. Things get messy when emotions and feelings are involved. We're not rational creatures, we're thinking with our heart, not our heads. like that's the reality of the situation. I think no matter who you are, you always have that tendency to like, oh, let me do something to kind of like get at that person, like you know,
Yes,
to like make you feel jealous in like whatever
true.
way, you know, whether it's subtle or whether
It's
it's
true.
you know, that's just human behavior.
Yeah.
It's human nature. You can't run from that. So you know, like whether it's Instagram or whether it's just you know, just living your life and you know, doing your own thing. I think best revenge is just really not giving a crap about that person and truly moving
Yeah.
on and thriving in your life.
That's right.
I think when that person feels that you've moved on, that is when it really sinks in for them.
Yeah.
That it's like,
That's right.
you know,
Well, that is
It's-
revenge,
it's-
right? Like that is
That's
like
the best
that's the
revenge, isn't it?
ultimate like
Your happiness.
revenge. But
Yeah.
you know, it's a long process to get to that point though.
It is.
You know, so you know, what are some things that like you've done out of frustration?
Well, out of frustration, I wouldn't have directly contacted any of my exes. That's something that I would never ever do. If anything,
No?
I would know. If anything, I would, you know, reach out to my friends and ask for advice, ask for support, go out with the girlfriends, work
Yeah.
on myself, hit the gym, get a haircut, you know, do things, go travel. I've
Yeah.
traveled a lot. Just to
Make
clear
yourself
my
feel good.
clear my mind, make myself feel good, have that alone time, for that time for myself to heal. Because, like you said, the best revenge is moving on, showing that you're happy and that you're a healed person as a whole. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think that's how I work as a person. So that person is like dead to me. They don't exist anymore.
Thank you.
And I try and
And what if they keep trying to crawl back into your life?
they really have to prove themselves.
This could not have come at a better
Oh,
time.
yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
We'll definitely be needing a few glasses of that later
Yes.
today.
Get into our system. Yeah.
So I guess taking a few steps back before the whole
What are
breakup, like when, you know, with the whole argument phase. I know I hear a lot of like people just blocking their partners over just very petty arguments. Like I just can't wrap my head around that.
Yeah,
Like
I find
if
that immature.
personally it's juvenile, and if someone did that to me, like that would, for me, if we're not breaking up already, that is definitely grounds for breakup, like right then and there.
That's the last straw, really, isn't it? If they've blocked you, if they're so childish about it, then really, what is there?
It's a very public
Yeah.
statement. Like, Brody, what do you think? Like, do we have to
Cheers.
toast?
Toast.
Yes. To moving on.
Yes. To better things, greener pastures.
Greener pastures.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So in terms of blocking and all that, look, again, I mean, we're talking very general, so I don't
Yeah.
know, for instance, what that person's gone through, what you went through, what I went through.
Yeah.
Was it a very traumatic experience? Was it, you know, it's hard to say, but generally speaking, I mean, no one's dead, no one's been beaten up, no one's
Yeah.
anything. So we're talking in a general sort of state. No, I mean, it's a bit childish. What do you know? Why do we need to block them? You know,
Yeah.
They block them on social media. They block them on their phone. Like it's just stupid.
Well, I think they're
you
blocking
know?
them because that person is really affecting them, and they don't
Yeah.
want to keep looking at their profile.
Yes.
And that's what I.
Yeah, I guess so.
The
So
psychology, yeah.
so the, I mean, the psychology aspect of it, that means either they have not been sort of totally healed or over them. So they're just trying to make do. And look, I mean, if that's a way of closure for you to do that, do it. But to do it as out of like a childish way of doing it, I think that's just stupid.
Yeah.
You know, there's better ways of dealing with things. Just do what you normally do. Like you live your life. You know, if you are trying to get revenge back, that is the best way of revenge. Live your life. Just do your thing. Go out on your dates.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, do you want them to rub in your face that they're dating? I mean, you shouldn't be doing that either. Like, there's no,
Yeah.
you know. But what you said before, you touched on. That's because they're going out of the relationship, or they're
Yeah.
ending the relationship.
Yeah.
So there's a phase
That's
where
right.
you go through where you're angry because maybe you're trying to make that relationship work. So you're frustrated because things aren't going the way you want them to do,
Yeah.
or they're not being the person you want them to be. That's to be honest.
Yeah.
So then you realize, hang on, this is not going to get any better. Then okay, well, you know, I need to move on, and you sort of come up with that sort of that decision where that's it, enough's enough. So that phase is different than a totally broken up phase.
That's
you
right.
know, some people look like they broke up, but they're still really in that phase.
Well, they're trying to get that person back, and it's just all those raw
So what are you trying to do?
Yeah.
So if you do get them back, do you want to go back with them again? Because you're going to go back to square one.
Yeah.
I remember I broke up with a girl. Like, I was quite young. Really liked her, everything, but I just saw that it wasn't going to work out. Honestly, she's probably one of the first that I loved, and I thought, if this is what love is, this is what it is. But things weren't adding up, and I felt like I was going to have issues with her.
Okay.
So I broke it up, and it was quite like clean cut.
Yeah.
Everything's cool. A year and a half later, a friend of mine bumps into her working in the city. And he gets her number, gives her my number, and then
really?
we're talking again. I was like, "Hey, how are you? I hope you're doing well, everything." She's like, "Oh, I really want to see you." I was like, "Look, I don't know if it's going to be a good idea." Like, we ended things. She said, "No, you don't know. Like, I actually, a lot of things happened after I broke up with you. I wrapped my car around the pole, and things happened. But because I broke it off, I didn't know any of that. It didn't really affect me."
Yeah.
So I thought, yeah, all cool. So I'm going to see her. All these emotions are starting to build up, and I'm thinking, wow, I remember her. And it was exactly her, just a year and a half later of her. Okay? And then I was like, she's talking, and I'm thinking, I know now why I broke up with you. I actually remember now why I broke up with you. This can never happen. So we hugged, we kissed, everything's cool.
Yep.
And I honestly said to her, honestly, this is not going to work. And she's like, what do you mean? Like, we're here, we're both single, everything's good. I said, it's just not going to work. And I'm thinking in my mind the whole time, remember why you broke up in the first place? She hasn't changed.
So what was it specifically that made you want to...
I just felt like there was certain things that were not compatible, like in my lifestyle, her lifestyle. And it was never going to change. And if anything, it manifested even more a year and a half later. She was more of a mature woman than when I saw her.
Right.
So she was actually even harder to deal with for me. So I was like, if I couldn't deal with that a year and a half ago,
you're not going to be able to later.
I'm not. So I was like, look, it's not going to work. And she was really hurt. And I hurt her more by seeing her again. But I mean, it was just that circumstance. So remember why you broke up in the first place. Do you really want to go back with that person? Like,
yeah, I agree. I think sometimes it can go either way. Some people have some time apart and they can evolve and it can work better down the track.
Yeah, and sometimes.
But sometimes it just, like I said, it is what it is.
Clear.
It goes like the other way.
The same issues always arise. It doesn't matter if it's a year later
That's it.
That's who they are.
That's what they are. Like, that's who they are, right? Like that's their character. You can't change people. They could try to mask it, but time will tell, because hey, lust will end up going, and then you're left with really what that person really is. So you're like, dude, I can't take this. I can't take this person anymore. That whole lust and emotions and love that you sort of mixed up, I can't take that person anymore. I can't tolerate them anymore. It's enough. So for me, it's always remember why you broke up. Because if you broke up for those reasons before, they haven't changed.
No. I think women process, it's interesting that you actually say that. I think a lot of women process it differently, like they know why, but they still hold on to the good times and the memories, and that's why they drag out that in-between process of going back and forth. It's like, oh no, but we had these good times, and they forget the bad. But then
they're back again, square one again.
That same, and they can't shake it off.
Yeah.
So, like I said, what do you do? Like, I guess, what would you...
I think it's just that process of healing. Like, at first when you break up, you're angry. It's really raw emotions.
Yep.
You just want to, get revenge, or you're angry, or you're sad. You're just going through a whole series of emotions. And then after that, you kind of come to the terms of acceptance. That this person is gone, and then you start working on yourself. But as time goes by and as you have more time apart from the person, the good memories arise, and then that's when people get confused.
Yes, that's the biggest problem. So what do you do at that point? How do people manage that?
Yeah, look, to be honest, I mean, there was a guy who was ringing me. He was quite depressed, because I get a lot of patients that come in, and obviously I'm working on them.
Of course.
And then they're opening up to me and they're talking, whatever. So I counsel them and I help them.
Yeah.
And a mate of mine said to me, he goes, why don't you say something to him? I said, because I don't know what he wants. Does he want his ex back? So I actually said to him, he rang me in the middle of the night. He goes, look, I'm going through a tough time. I said, look, is it because your ex has moved on? Is that what it is? He said, yeah. I said, is it because you're looking through her social media consistently and looking that she's moved on? He goes, yes. I go, what have you done? He said, nothing. I said, so every night you got nothing to do, you don't go out with your friends, you don't date, and then, of course, you're leaving yourself wide open to think of her. She's not thinking of you. So you need to move on. He goes, what do you advise? I said, mate, if you don't have friends and stuff, go on Tinder.
Yeah.
I said, mate, go do what you have to do. He went on Tinder on the third day he's out on a date. He rings me and messages me after. He goes, because he tried to ring me, I didn't answer. I was like, what does he want now, you know? And then he messages me and he goes, man, I'm so happy. Thank you so much. 2 weeks later, I'm so happy. I've gone out on several dates now.
Out there, yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm not even thinking about her. Look, that was just a little solution. But meaning you got to live your life. Right? You can't, stay in that
same
stagnant way.
Yeah.
Of course, you're going to be thinking of the ex, and you're going to try to bring out the good emotions. And maybe I could have fixed it. Could have, would have, should have. If you could have, you would have done it.
That's right.
You know what I mean? You're not going to.
Exactly.
Well, they would have done it, right?
Yeah,
you're not going to.
Yeah.
Things. So, but maybe I'm just talking a very logical sort of way. A lot of people, they get emotions. And,
well, that's a problem. Women are emotional creatures. I think that's why they find it so hard. Not everyone, but they can't understand a man's mind frame as to how they can process things so quickly. Men, I feel like they fall so hard and then just kind of okay, I'm out of it as well, as quickly. So, whereas women take a little bit longer for them to fall. Because
you know how they always laugh about that multitasking that men come with. It's not about that. It's what I reckon is men have a way of, and maybe it's an efficiency of just focusing on this. Not focusing on this, and this. But a woman can focus on everything.
Multitask.
In everything. So a guy will just do this one really good. He'll just focus on that and then perfect that. A woman will just go bah, 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 and that's why if he doesn't, she'll be like, why isn't he doing that? I'm like that. I can do it. Men don't work that way. Most men work on, they'll focus on one thing and they'll do it the best they can. That's it, just one thing. So if that thing is gone, he may very well just X that out and then move on and focus on one other thing. So it's one of those boxes where he's got one box. When a woman's got multiple boxes, multiple things.
That actually explains. That actually provides. It's a good explanation, of a man's psychology. Because a lot of women can actually understand their thought pattern and how. You know what I mean? How things work. But also, when someone's been out of your life, you hear this a lot. It's been a while, but they don't want to necessarily be with that person. But then you get a random message, after however long, just to be oh, hey, whatever it is. It's well, what do you want?
Exactly.
What is it that it hasn't worked out? Why are you communicating now? So after so long.
Yeah.
So why do certain, men do that? Just come out of the woodworks after so long, and it's leave the past in the past.
Options open. Is that what it is?
Look, I don't do that, but I see other guys do that.
Yeah.
And I think it's because leave the options open. They think, well, whatever. I'm thinking good thoughts about her now. Let me just message her. It's very. Let me say, you're putting yourself in a very bad position if that happens, because if you do hook up, it's going to be very exciting because it's lust now.
Of course.
For a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be devastating afterwards. It's not going to work. It's because both of you guys are very excited.
Yeah.
And then, you're excited to see each other again. You reignite old flames and passions or whatever you want.
Yeah.
And then that dies down pretty quickly within a week or two, and then the fights start again, and then you're like, wow. So from the start, if you can actually bring those up and actually think ahead,
Yeah.
you'll cut it off. It's hard because a lot of women do, they're very emotional.
Of course.
You know?
Yeah.
So
That's just how they're built.
and that's nice because
Yeah.
that is the motherly aspect of it. And that's
Yeah.
what's beautiful about it.
Yeah.
But that can also be her downfall
Yes.
because she'll be moved because he said that. Like he actually promised me that. Mate, he promised whatever. He forgot what he wore
Exactly.
yesterday.
That's so
You
true.
know what
I
mean?
hear that so many times.
Yeah, you said that.
Yeah. But
he's-
see, why? See, that's I can't accept empty like words of
Yeah.
promises. I'm more of an action person. Like, don't talk, show me. Like, I don't want to hear your sweet nothings.
Yeah.
Like, you need to
Without
show
follow
me
through.
without
Without your
action speaks
Louder than words.
200%. Like, I don't want to hear what you have to say. Like, I really don't. Like,
But a lot of them say what you want to hear.
See, that's what I was going to say.
They
to you.
do, but I
Yeah.
think you have to like
Yeah.
really condition your mind
That's
to be
it.
like, well,
Yeah.
what are you doing about it?
Yeah.
You're saying all these things. What are you doing about it? Nothing.
And sometimes when you're so deeply in love, and
That's-
so
yeah.
invested, you're really blind.
Yeah, of course. That's the biggest issue that
Yeah.
a lot of women have.
Yeah.
You know, because you're just
I mean,
clouded by the
imagine the industry that I work in. I'm consistently, I see things right. I'm like, you can't see that he's playing you? Like, I can see what's happening, and I just saw a snippet of it. Because, for instance, I'll do a treatment, it'll take about half an hour to an hour, and I'll see what, in that hour, everything, and they can't see it. So it's like, you don't see that what he's doing? Like, you actually have no idea what he's doing.
Yeah.
Or you do, but because you want to believe otherwise,
Yeah.
you're in this vicious circle. And I'm not painting guys to be bad. I'm not. There's women
No,
like
no,
that.
no. Women
you know
like
what I
that
mean?
too. No, it's not both. Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's both
ways.
ends. But
Yeah, it
it's
is.
like the truth is, and I'm just talking male or female.
Yeah.
The truth is, if you can see something very clear, then it is what it is. Like, why are you trying to say, but maybe it is? It is what it is.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
you've seen.
It's just the maybe. It's like I think the people hold on to the potential. Like
There could
you know,
be something
There
else
could
on-
be something like they have the potential to be this. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
hold on to that for so long, and they don't see whoever.
And not everyone's
Yeah.
like, I mean, not everyone's compatible to each other. Like, let's to be honest. Like, you might be a perfect person, and I might be a perfect person to someone else.
Yeah.
But I'm not with you.
Yeah, it's
So
together, the
there's nothing wrong with that.
combination.
Like, it doesn't have to fit. If you're trying to force it, it's not going to happen. And if it's all the fights are starting from the start, like the first year is your trial. Like that, if everything's starting from the start, the first year you guys are each other's throat, where do you think 10 years from now, where are you going to end
Yeah, I
up?
don't know whether
Disaster.
Yeah.
Like-
yeah. When do you think the honeymoon period stops? Like, I think that's.
I'll let you answer
That's,
that.
that's a total different topic. It's like,
It
how
is,
do you
it
hold
is.
someone's attention?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So it really
Yeah.
depends on both of you together
Yeah.
and when you want it to stop. Because some people get into a relationship, they get comfortable, and
Yeah.
they just let go. They don't try anymore.
Look,
Yeah.
I notice a lot of, obviously because I'm in cosmetics and beauty, so I notice a lot of times that, and I've seen actual breakups in, like, during the whole phase of people's breakup, the whole process sort of thing. So I've had people come in and say, look, I need you to do this on my wife. Like, what do you want me to do on your wife? So the wife may have been very overweight, and she's lost a lot of weight, lost a lot of collagen on the face, looks much older than what she really is, and he wants her to look in a particular way, right? So I'm like, no, I can't do that unless she says that's what she wants
Oh my
to do.
god, you
right?
get those types of requests?
So you get that kind of people like saying, look, I want her to like that, right? Why? Because she let herself go, right? And whatever it is, whether she got sick, whether she had kids, whatever it is, right? And for him, the emphasis on her looking beautiful is big for him, right? Like, he wants to be attracted to his wife. Vice versa, I get a lot of women coming in. So I had not to mention like a race, but a guy from overseas come in, and he was wearing like a glued-on toupee, right? And I said, because I do hair treatments, so I said, look, you need to actually get it off because the glue's killing your hair. he goes, no, I can't. My wife overseas that sees me on the pictures said I'm not allowed to take it off. I'm not allowed to shave it because she wants me with hair. I said, but your hair's not going to grow because you're actually killing it. It's like the glue and consistently on your scalp. It's killing your hair. It took me 4 months to convince him to actually take it off and then shave it so that his hair can actually grow, because he said that she doesn't, that she won't approve it.
Oh my god.
Okay, so they were only engaged. So if you're engaged and this is what's happening,
Imagine later.
look, what have you left?
Wow.
Like you're just engaged, and she's like, so obviously she's very superficial.
Yeah.
You know, he's going to have to always look tip-top condition. So, look, it's a hard one for me, like to tell you what.
It is.
Thing, but I see a lot of things, like lots of phases and things. The truth is, okay, we married or we got together looking like this. There's nothing wrong of me and you being as healthy as possible, looking as good as possible for each other, as long as possible.
long as you can,
you know,
yeah.
don't get, don't let yourself go. Don't put on 50 kilos for no reason.
Yeah.
Okay, because I shouldn't either. So it's like that whole both. I want to look good for her, and I want her to be proud of me, and I want her to, you know,
Yeah,
look
I
good
agree
for
with
me.
that.
I want to say, hey, that's my girl.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, of
Yeah.
course. What, like, there's nothing wrong with me saying, one of my mates going, dude, she's hot. I'm like, yeah, of course she's hot. Like, that's mine.
It's mine.
Right? So,
Hands
do
off.
you understand what I mean? Like, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
So then I see the opposite, where the woman or the guy gets very comfortable.
Yeah.
One's still looking after themselves, and the other one has let themselves go. Okay, and then the issues start. So I saw a guy bring in his girlfriend while he was married to his wife and we done treatments on her, and I was like, this is not going to end well. And he's like, look, I don't care anymore. She doesn't want to change, she doesn't whatever, I don't care anymore. And now he's with his girlfriend, and his wife, or his ex-wife now, still comes to the clinic, but
Messy.
you see, like, and I see it. So I'm not saying he's in the right, who's in the wrong. He's nothing. I'm just
Yeah.
saying I know what happened.
Yeah.
The breakdown happened was that she just let herself go, got very comfortable, or he let himself go and got too comfortable. And then, you know, we're human.
Yeah.
I don't care what anyone says. People lie when they say to you, no, it's the soul. Dude, listen. You were attracted by how they looked first.
And then you got to know the
Then
soul.
you got to know the soul. Okay, so don't tell me it's the soul first, because you didn't know the soul first. You got attracted first visually, then you got mentally stimulated, and that's what kept you.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's nothing wrong with looking your best all the time. There's nothing wrong with that.
I
Okay?
agree.
You know, there's
100%,
nothing
I
wrong
agree
with
with that.
painting your finger in your toenails. Oh, well, you just let yourself go now because I married you? Do you know what I mean? Or looking good when you're dressing like nicely because, well, oh no, who cares? I'm just at home. There's nothing wrong with looking good. Like, so.
Yeah.
You know.
I think for male, like, I mean, I definitely agree with what you're saying. I think that physical attraction for me is important, as well as the whole package, personality, everything. But a lot of females maybe are not wired that way. You know, they're attracted to the personality first, and then
Yeah.
like you see that a lot.
Yeah.
You see like really attractive women with, you know,
Ordinary
maybe
looking
not,
guys.
yeah, and you just think, you know,
What's going on?
Yeah, like what's like going on.
Or he's
over there.
loaded.
Could be.
One or the other.
So that's the rules of breakup change in that case.
So going back to breakups and people being vindictive, what do you think of like people that swear or act viciously?
Being
That's just
abusive,
abusive,
is,
yeah. It's just a no-no.
Everyone, I think, depending if you're having like an argument, in the heat of the moment, a lot of things can be said.
Yeah.
Like to each other, like really hitting below the belt
course it
when
is,
you
yeah.
have an argument.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think on a swearing, I think that, you know,
It's too much.
it's
Look, I mean, we've all been there. We've all done that. It's like, first of all, if it's always happening, why is it happening? Is that person really frustrated to the point where they're so angry because they're not getting what they want?
Yeah.
And they want that person to be in a certain way? Because that person must mean a lot to them if they're that angry with them. Okay.
Yeah.
Because they want them
That's
to be
true.
in a particular way, right? So for me, like it's that whole that cold look where, sorry, you don't mean that much anymore to me.
I mean, how do you deal with not talking to them or not contacting them? Because sometimes you do reach a weak point where you're like, I miss that person.
Yeah.
I want to call them straight away. Like,
It takes a lot of willpower
Yeah.
to not go there.
yeah.
A
Look,
lot of
I mean-
willpower. I think you need to keep yourself busy, be productive with your life. You know, go out with your friends, just have a really good group of people like around
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Now, you have to have a good support network around you.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to have people that understand that, look, I'm going through a rough time. Yeah, of course, you know, I was with this person for many years. It's very easy for me to revert back to that. That's comfortable, right?
It's comfortable, exactly.
Right,
Comfort
so-
zone. Yeah.
So, you know, that's the time where you need people around you to go, no, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Where's this going? Do you think
Yeah.
it's going to go?
Yeah, you need people who are logical and
you
be
know?
like, no, don't do that.
Don't
Like,
do that.
And then you'll
don't
see
do
it, like a
that.
couple of minutes later, you'll be like, yeah, what am
Yeah,
I
that
doing?
was
Like,
stupid.
that was just stupid, you know? Why am I even bothering? Like, that's just not going to go anywhere. So, but at that time, you'll be like, that moment. So you need to surround, like, you can't be sitting at home just having popcorn and just like watching TV and crying, feel sorry for yourself. Like, you can't do that. You need to be out and about, be productive. I mean, if
Yeah.
you are in business, be in business. If you are social, go socialize. Like, do your thing. You can't.
Don't constantly listen to
No.
sad romantic songs.
No, like
I mean, you go and
know,
have
you-
ice cream and
that.
chocolate. You can have
I
those
get
moments, but you need to
No, like,
quickly
I
move
mean-
on
Snap
from
out
that.
of it.
Snap out of that.
Snap out of it.
And it's not just
And,
for women. Like I'm saying, like
yeah,
I told you
men
that,
too,
that
guys,
story
yeah.
about that guy. Like, dude, you're staying at home. You're not doing anything.
Yeah.
Of course, you're going to be thinking and stalking your ex.
Yeah,
you know?
you're fixated on that. There's nothing
Fixated.
else
you know?
going on in your life.
So as soon as you change your environment,
Yeah.
you break out of that whole to revert back to.
Yes.
You know, because you're now comfortable in
Yeah.
that environment.
that zone,
Otherwise, if you're not comfortable, you're going to be always consistently trying to come back to.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just easier. You know, better the devil you know, sort of
That's
thing.
it. Then
That's
you
so
don't
true.
know.
Yeah.
And a lot of people delete numbers, or they block numbers, or they just change the name on the numbers. I mean, I know I'm guilty of that. I write,
Oh,
do
yeah.
not pick up. So,
Amongst other things.
Yeah. So
Amongst other names.
So this post came on the other day,
Yeah.
and then I asked my receptionist. I was like, so it says, do you change names of people when you get angry with them? And I said, does that even happen? Like, do women do that? And she's like,
personally
yeah. So she's like, she done it, right? So I'm like, look, I mean, whatever
works for
whatever
you.
works for
Whatever
you.
works for
you
you.
know? Whatever
Yeah.
works for you.
I think that's
it's hilarious.
yeah.
Well, you're not contacting that person. You're
No.
doing no harm to them. It's
Yeah.
just for you.
For yourself, yeah. But it's interesting to know
funny,
what
yeah.
nicknames people give. You can let me know off camera.
Yes, you can go through my contact list.
All right, guys. On that note, thank you so much for
Thank you
joining
so
us
much.
for this segment, and thanks, Brody.
Thank you for having
thanks
me.
for your
Thank you.
input, and
Thank
that was
you.
really helpful for a lot
Thank
of
you so
women, I
much.
would
Yeah.
say, and hope
Thank
you
you
get
so
some
much.
helpful advice and insight on how to handle your, I don't know, I guess your parting weight or whatever is the next chapter of your life.
Yes.
And yeah.
Here's to moving on.
Thank
yeah.
you. Thank you, guys.
Cheers to greener pastures.